Craven Bets, here with Mike Craven, our resident financial advisor here. The weekly segment where we tell you what to do with your money, but this is not financial advice. I'm required by our lawyer to tell you that. Here in Craven's Corner, because on this corner,
we make money.
And so last week was a down week for you.
Yep.
And you went 2-2.
Went 2-2. 2-2. Paid the VIG.
Buddy, if our bad weeks are just minus the VIG,
yeah,
we're doing okay.
Yeah, it's been a good year. It's been a good year so far.
We're going to see if we can...
It's nice to just only concentrate on 12 schools.
Right?
You know, like it makes it, I feel like an insider actually.
Yeah, you don't
like the title that you're given actually fits.
Right. Last year it didn't, you know, because I joined from the soccer beat and I just didn't have the off season to do. I was playing catch up. This year it feels like I have a pretty good grasp on most teams.
You were just the college football guy.
Right, there you go. Yeah.
Upgraded to insider.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some new business cards for you now.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see if we can keep this train moving. What do we got first, Pickle?
Let's go to the American SMU taking on the Water Troops, and you are taking the over at 58.
You are asking. Here's my headline here. You're taking an over in a service academy game.
I am. SMU's defense is not very good, but the reason I'm taking the over is because this is going to be one of those statement games from the SMU offense. They're on a 3-game losing streak. People are starting to jump off the bandwagon. There's been a lot of noise on if Tanner Mordecai is playing well, if Preston Stone's going to play, what they're going to do offensively. I think this is one of those times that SMU plays the hurry-up offense. They do tempo. They score 40, 45 points. And that defense is going to give up 14 to 21, so I think the over hits on this one.
42-21's a winner on that. So you're probably, really in a lot of ways, you're just asking Navy to put together 3 good drives, which feels reasonable against this SMU defense. And then you're asking SMU to do their part, which it is a bad Navy defense.
And I don't think they let off the gas.
Yeah.
If they were on a 3-game winning streak and they're 5-1, maybe they do. But on a 3-game losing streak, needing to kind of right the ship, I think SMU puts it all out there.
There may be some troop disrespect in this game. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, we head to the Big 12. The Texas Longhorns taking on Iowa State. You like the under at 49.5.
Both of these two teams are top 15 in stop rates. You know, we don't talk about the Texas defense that much because it's much more fun to talk about Quinn Ewers and the quarterback position, Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy, all that kind of stuff. But the defense is playing really well. Keandre Coburn's been one of the best interior defensive linemen in the state. The linebackers are coming on. Iowa State's not a good football team, but the defense is good. They're a lot like Iowa. They're a lot like their neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to play good offense. They're going to play good defense. It is ironic that 5-star culture is not winning out anymore when their 5-star players are now in the NFL. But I think the under hits this week.
Yeah, it's, you know, and then really in a lot of ways this is not necessarily saying that the Texas offense is going to be worse.
No.
But what you're saying is that essentially you're going to have a little bit of facing a better defense. I think Iowa State's defense is better than Oklahoma's.
Yep.
That's fair to say.
Oh yeah.
Shocking.
You know, they're also facing an offense that they're not going to be as wounded as Oklahoma was, but this is still a pretty poor Iowa State offense.
Yeah, Texas scored 31 and this still not hit the over. You know, I don't have much faith that Iowa State scores more than 14, 17 points, and I don't think Texas is one of those teams that's going to score 50 on somebody if they're up by 25. They'll give it to Bijan, they'll give it to Roshan Johnson, they'll grind out the clock and move on to the next week.
All right, what's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's head to Conference USA. North Texas taking on La Tech. You're setting the under at 70.5, which I know is just super controversial.
We literally, this is 100% true.
I thought it was a typo when I made
We had
the
to
graphic.
verify this. It's now moved down to 69, which is nicer, but that feels way too high for two teams that are only like okay.
Here's that. La Tech's defense isn't very good, and North Texas's defense could be argued isn't all that good either. But when you look at North Texas's statistics, that defensive points per game they're giving up is skewed by the amount of offensive touchdowns North Texas has allowed the other team's defense. I think they've thrown 3 pick-6s. They've had a couple kick returns on them. They've had some special teams blunders that's turned into points. So if the North Texas offense doesn't create points for La Tech, I think this one easily hits under 70.5, and the line's starting to lower and lower and lower, and so it feels like the gamblers are on that one as well.
Yeah, that was a shocking number at 70. I was like, I don't know.
I literally checked like 3 times when I was making the graphic.
Yeah.
It feels like the lock of the week. I know we're trying to do more lock of the week action.
We do.
This feels more like lock of the week just because that number is insane.
Yeah. What's next, Pickle?
To the, what I think we would all agree is the game of the week here in the Big 12, TCU versus Oklahoma State. You were taking the over at 68.
Pointsy.
Pointsy, these quarterbacks are great. They're really, really good. Both teams are averaging the exact amount of points per game. I find that to be statistically interesting.
And they've both been parts of their respective programs for like 75 years now.
They have some experience, and Spencer Sanders stopped turning the ball over as much. Max Duggan's been excellent. I don't know if he's turned the ball over yet this year in his games. The running games have been great for both teams. They're kind of a lot similar to each other. We tend to think Oklahoma State is this defensive team. They're giving up points. Baylor had their best passing day of the year so far against this Oklahoma State secondary. I imagine TCU, Quentin Johnston does the exact same thing. This one feels like a 38-35 last team to have the ball type game.
Look at last week against Texas Tech. We like Baron Morton a lot, but that's a third-string quarterback making his first career start, and he was
on the road,
and he was spinning it, against this Oklahoma State defense. So I think you're right. I think the over on 68 is the play.
And I'm not quite there on TCU's defense yet.
Yeah.
I think they're good. I think they're better than they were last year because who wouldn't be? But I don't know if they're stop Spencer Sanders good yet.
Well, and same thing like last week. They were going up for a large stretch of that game. They were going up against a backup quarterback, and they kind of got ripped apart as well. Yep. So the over feels like the play here.
Shout out Jason Bean.
There you go. I think, call.
You just got beat.
And I think we got one more.
We sure do. Back to Conference USA. It is the Battle of the Owls. You're taking Rice +4 against FAU.
I'm here to tell you that Rice is decidedly not bad. They are not a bad football team.
I think a thing to remember when looking at these gambling lines is they're not predictions. They're a way to get 50% of the money on both sides. And Rice is still considered a really bad football team, especially on the road. The Rice is good, and I watched FAU against North Texas last week, and they are not.
Yes.
And so I think Rice may win this one outright. I know going to a different time zone can be tough. Sometimes that doesn't travel. But coming off a bye week, that defense has been, I think they've averaged 18.33 points given up per game in their wins, 50 in their losses.
Yeah.
So when they've been playing not USC and not Houston, Rice has been really good. FAU's not close to that level. Given the Owls +4, I think I'd take the Rice at even money.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be my lock of the week. Might be the Tepper top lock of the week. We got to get a graphic for that. There it is, Craven Bets, our financial advice segment here on this week here in Craven's Corner, because on this corner
we make money.